Now, in case you don't know me, I am Amy Pearson. I am the mother of all things Sun Mother Studio, an independent creative studio breathing life into business through strategy and design. I am also a mother to 2 kids. One is 5 and one is 3. So I'm out of the thick of it, sort of. My background is in design. I went straight into a design degree after school a very, very long time ago, and then went on to work in various studios and companies on design teams until finally striking up the nerve to start my own studio once I became a mother. I now run Sun Mother, a fully booked studio with a focus on strategic branding and web design, and I work using the single concept method. Today, I'm going to be talking all about why brand strategy is the core of every brand and whether we do the strategy or not. Brand strategy is the core of every brand. I'll get into that in a minute, but I'll also show you the essentials you need to utilize brand strategy in every brand design project that you take on so that you can build the confidence to get your client the best results possible for their business. Just a heads up before I dive in, this content that I'm about to share with you is based off my own program, Brand Universe Generator, and I've given boring old brand strategy new life through the use of metaphors which relate directly to my own business, Sun Mother. It's understandable to everyone because it's space. I really love this method because I find it easy to visualize and understand strategy from this perspective, and I hope you do too. But please keep in mind that this is copyright protected material. So, the sun is the center of our solar system, right? It's also the center of your brand, and it is the force behind your entire galaxy. It is the mother of all things that function in our area of the universe. Without a solid brand sun, your system will not function. There will be no energy, and it definitely won't be attracting your dream audience. No sun, no energy, no audience, or not the right audience. The big picture of the brand universe you're in. So let's take a look at this. If you aren't working from a strategy for yourself in your own business or for your clients, how will you be able to create something that stands apart from all the other galaxies that draw the ideal client you're after and allow them to see you as separate from everyone else? There are so many galaxies in the universe. We are not the only galaxy. It's really important to realize that there are competitors in your industry, and there always will be. It doesn't matter how niche you are. There will be competitors. And I mean, getting into a niche is actually part of strategy, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. But the sun is the center of your galaxy. Think about the sun in the actual universe, in space, in the galaxy. It is the energy force, right? Everything flows with energy from the sun. So without that sun, the galaxy actually doesn't function properly. So what we're going to do is I'm going to talk you through my sort of backwards strategy, the way that I do it, in comparison to how people traditionally do it, and how I'm going to teach you how to use that to make your galaxy shine next to all the other galaxies in your universe, because you've crafted it in a way, or for your clients, in a way that you are going to attract the right people in. And that's what this whole metaphor is all about. So let's get into it, hey? So basically, most people are stuck on Earth, unaware of how important the sun actually is to their brand. This may be you right now, and that's okay. A lot of people are this person. A lot of people have been here. The analogy here is that without the sun, Earth would not exist. So you're standing here on Earth, you're looking at the external layers of your sun, the rays, the shiny bright bit on the outside, and you're thinking, oh yeah, my sun's pretty great, from what I can see. But without building out the sun layer by layer from the core all the way out, the galaxy doesn't flow properly. So you're not aware that all of the other planets and all of the stars and all of the orbit that's happening around you, it's not really working right, and it's eventually going to fall apart. All the planets are going to collide. Everything's going to turn to dust, essentially. A brand strategy is essential not only for the success of a visual brand, but for the success of the business in general. So this will help you with your client work as a designer, but this will also help you to build your own business, and it will help you to help your clients to build their own business. And that's why this stuff is so important. Add this work that I'm going to teach you in a minute into your client workflow and watch as your clients are thrilled with what you create for them and how much quicker you can get them to the yes. So, I do things a little backwards with my strategy, and for good reason. Most of us start with the what. Okay, most clients do, and most of us as designers do. And that's where we go wrong. We need to start with the why, not the what. Simon Sinek said this best, but we must start with why. And this goes not only for just traditional business, but for starting a branding project or a brand strategy in general. The why tells us so much about the what. So we start with why, and I'm going to get into the details in a minute. Then we move on to who. Then we think about how we're going to do it. And then we talk about what it's going to be. That is how we really need to be crafting our brand strategy, our business, our visual brand, all of the above. Okay. So the why is the purpose. The who is the audience. The how is the research and direction phase. And then the what is the actual business and the output. Okay. Most people in business, they come to us and they sort of say, I have a business. It's called X. I do X. I want a website, or I want a brand, or I want a logo. The end. And then we go into our little design hole and we try and build a brand for this person without a strategy. No wonder we get annoyed at our clients. No wonder we get frustrated. How on earth are we going to be aligned? There's nothing there that's connecting us. There's no logical pathway for us to take that's going to make complete sense for that client. All we have is seeing what other people are doing in that field and hoping for the best. We really need to be strategic in our work if we want to be able to make good money, and if we want to be able to have clients that are stoked with us, giving us incredible testimonials, like referring us on, and then having the work and the experience to show potential future clients on our website, in our Google reviews. It all comes back to us. Doing great strategy all comes back to us and how we run our business. And I think, it's something we all need to take in our stride. I was asked recently in the Ask Me Anything on Lucky Ones, how do you suggest offering brand strategy if you've never done it before? Should I charge for this? Before I dive into this, I want to say to anyone that's not charging for brand strategy already, that's okay. You don't have to put a number on that. I want you to get really confident and comfortable doing brand strategy so that you know that what you're doing actually works and makes sense. And once you can prove that to yourself, then you can start adding it into your packages and telling people, this is what I do. The reason I say that is because just adding it in and putting a price on something that you're not experienced with is not necessarily going to benefit you. But what would benefit you is using the strategy that you've learned, adding it into your client workflows, giving the client the best outcome ever, and having the client come back and saying, I loved working with you. You read my mind, blah, 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 blah. And then you can be like, great, that's strategy. It's working. You need to be able to have confidence in what you're doing first, I think, before we can put a price tag on it a lot of the time. Maybe not in every instance, but in this instance, I think it's important because it is an important document for them, for the client. And we can't just put a price tag on it if we don't know what we're doing. We need to really think about this and learn as much as we can before we start charging for it. But you can all charge for it eventually. All right. Now, here is how we create a brand that lasts, or a website for that matter, but a brand. We'll just focus on that for now. So this is a breakdown of the layers of the brand sun, which is essentially what makes the entire brand galaxy move or flow. Now, keep in mind, this is my own interpretation of brand strategy. It's my own version. There's no one right way to do brand strategy, but it is important that you learn as much as you can, as many places as you can first before you make your own version, if that makes sense. But this is what I've taken from everything I've learned in my long time playing with brand strategy. So first of all, why? This is the core of every successful brand, a deep purpose and a why. So we're going to get into that. The next layer is values, mission, and vision. This is the foundation from which you build your strategy, these two layers here. The ICA and dream audience, this is a specific client or customer. We make them feel real. Brand personality is similar to the ICA. We make a fictional character. We think of the brand as a person. The ICA and the brand personality would be friends with one another. They'd see each other at a party and be like, hey, you look really cool. Let's be friends. Then we have messaging and brand identity. Brand identity is what you will be working on as a designer. Messaging is more of a copywriting or marketing expert offer, but this is all to do with a brand. So if you have your own brand, you can work on your own messaging in this layer. This is essentially how your brand is perceived in the external world. And I will mention this later, but whether you like it or not, your brand is being perceived in the external world, and so is your clients. So if you don't have this mapped out, people are taking the experience that they're having with your brand and they're creating their own identity for you, their own brand identity outside of the visual identity. And that is because you don't have a strategy in place. So they're taking whatever they feel, whatever they think, whatever the vibe is from what you're putting out into the world or any other business is putting out into the world, and they're crafting their own identity of your brand. Someone said once, and I can't remember where this quote came from, but your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. And that is really important to be aware of, because this is why strategy is so important. Just having visuals is not having a brand. Having visuals is having a visual brand, but it's not an entire brand. And the strategy is a huge part of having a brand. And then finally, the brand experience. Again, this is how your brand is experienced at all touch points. So this is what people say about you when you're not in the room. And each layer here has a vital importance. And without each layer, the galaxy doesn't function as well as it could. So this is happening whether you do it or not, whether you're aware of it or not, whether you're stuck on earth looking at the external, or whether you're really getting into your brand galaxy, getting into the layers, building them out layer by layer. You will be attracting a certain type of person, and you'll be perceived as a certain type of brand personality. So remember that it is what people say about your brand when you're not in the room, and that strategy is super important. Now let's get into the steps that I take to craft a strategy so that you can start doing this for your own business and for your clients. Step 1, lead with purpose. So this is the why, okay? The first little circle we saw earlier, this is the why. Leading with purpose is how we begin everything, because if we ever start a business or a brand without the purpose, intention, and the why there, it doesn't last. And it's really hard to grab onto something when it all goes belly up. And that does happen a lot in business. There are ups and downs. And we need to be able to go, I am doing this for this deeper meaning than just I am a designer. Because if that's all you've got to hold on to, why not just go back and get a regular job, right? There needs to be some deeper meaning there. And it's also important for us to understand this about our clients' businesses too. So why are you doing this? Really? At the heart of your brand is a brand why. And this is the essence that fuels every aspect of the business. It's not about what you do or how you do it. I'm a designer. I, do branding in Illustrator. I create logos, whatever it is. But rather, why do you wake up every morning and pour your heart into this? Why are you actually doing this, really? It's the driving force that sets you apart from others. And it's how people connect with you in their heart and their mind. And I know that sounds cheesy, but it's true. It's how people connect with you and your brand. It should really resonate with your personal convictions as well and the impact that you want to make on the world, because this is the foundation from which you'll build your business, and it's going to guide you always through those ups and downs. What do you value? Brand values are also a guiding principle that define your brand's character and also culture, which may not seem relevant if you've only got one person, but it still has a culture. And this will influence how your brand interacts with your clients, how it interacts online, the transition between you and your clients as you're working through your processes, the business decisions you make, how you navigate challenges. Values are so important, and there's so much that they become a part of without you even realizing. And there's so many times that you can draw on the values to figure out whether or not you should do something. And I actually did that this week. I'm not going to go into it here, but I made a big decision this week based on my brand values. And I'm so glad that they're there for me in these situations. What is your vision or North Star? Now, a brand's vision is something that provides direction and inspiration for the future. So it's something that's really clear and concise, but it's what you're aspiring to achieve in the long term. It's sort of like your purpose, but it's more about the brand and the world than you. So it's going beyond financial. It's going beyond, personal. It's the impact that you want to have on the community or the industry or the world. And then you also can at some point craft a vision statement from this. Don't have to do this now, but something that's ambitious yet achievable. And it pushes you to sort of stretch beyond your current capabilities, but remain grounded in the why. The North Star as well, and I explain this in my group offering, Brand Universe, but the North Star is literally the North Star in the galaxy. It's something that you're always looking towards, like, that's right, that's the vision. It's like it keeps you focused. So when you're lost, it's always there for you. And the why is the center. So the center is the why, and then the North Star is the vision. Okay, that's what we're moving towards, and I am doing it because of this. And then what is your mission? The mission outlines the journey that the brand will take to achieve the vision. So it defines the purpose of the business, and it's sort of like the specific actions and services or products you provide that make a difference in the lives of your customers or the broader community. The mission's more focused on the present and near future, and it's how you conduct your business and the standards you uphold. So we can get into more detail with this in the workshop, but I'm just giving you an outline of the steps involved for the brand strategy so that you can work on them, and then we'll work on this all together in the workshop later on. But these whys, these are really important as the heart of the brand, the core of the brand. That will help everything else to fall into place. And then finally, the purpose. I mean, this is pretty clear, right? What is the purpose of any of this? What is your purpose? What is the brand purpose? This is a question that will help you to unravel, help you to unveil all of these things. And when you get in touch with this, it makes a lot more of the brand and the business and the future, even your life, makes sense. So understanding this from your client's perspective is also really important to create a great brand. Step 2 is dreaming up who. Not to be confused with your previous clients, but dreaming up who you want to really be working with. Who do you really want to be attracting? Who does your client really want to be selling their item to or providing their service to? Who do you want to be branding for or creating websites for or designing for? It's really important to understand this because this helps everything else to make sense. If you can discover who you like working with, who you really think of as your dream client, this can pivot and change this part as you move through business. A lot of strategy does. Strategy is not set and forget. I should have said that in the beginning, but it's something that will continue to guide you. So it's important to have it there and you can tweak it. But dreaming up who is so important because it's almost like adding another goal. It's like, these are the people I'm focusing on. Okay. A lot of the time in my business, I've had an ideal client, reached that ideal client, started getting a lot of that type of person coming to me, and then gone, actually, I'm tweaking this now. And it's either been someone in a different industry or someone who has a different set of values or whatever it is. And I've honed in on something else. And I'm in the process of actually doing that right now, pivoting a little bit. Because things happen, things pop up, you get interactions with people, you get a weird client experience, you get these things pop up and you go, okay, I'm going to reframe this, I'm going to rediscover this. But having something to aim towards, to work towards, helps you to think about how you are showing up, how you are creating your brand personality, how you are doing all the steps that come after this, because you know who it is that you want to be speaking to. And an ideal client avatar, or a dream, so ICA is the traditional way of saying it, the ideal client avatar in marketing, or your dream client, which is what I like to say, your dream client or customer, if that's what you do. But it's essentially a profile. It's a fictional profile and it's detailed. And it's like creating a character that embodies these characteristics, desires, and behaviors of your brand's perfect client or customer from where you are right now. It goes beyond basic demographics though. It needs to get into psychographics and offer a deep understanding of this person so that you can really humanize your target audience and actually tailor your marketing and your offers and services to meet their needs. So this is the next question in step 2. It's who. And then we're thinking, okay, now we sort of start to know who it is now. We work out their demographics. So that's the age, income, job title, relationship status, yada, yada, yada. It's surface level, okay? It's not super important. And we also like to do interests as well. We'll get into that. But psychographics is the other important one. And this was missed in traditional marketing, but nowadays it's a lot more common. So this is things like attributes, including values. So they've got their own set of values. They are different from yours. Most likely there may be some overlap. And they are values that are potentially different from yours, but they make sense in the way that they would be magnetized towards your business. So they don't have to be the same. Personality traits, lifestyle, understanding these elements, it enables you to connect with your ICA on an emotional level. Again, making your messaging more compelling and making your brand stand out. Next, we want to figure out where actually are they, online and physically. Where do they show up online? Do they use social media? Maybe they're not on Instagram. Maybe they're not on Facebook. Where are they? Where are they physically? We need to know where they live because we need to target an area with our SEO and all of that stuff that comes later. We need to know where they are, where they show up. We also need to know what stage of business are they at? What stage of growth? Do they have a team? Have they used a service like yours before? How aware are they of their offer? Will they need education about what you do? These are all really important questions to understand. Now, step 3 is the research and discovery phase, which I call discover and direct. So in this step, we're actually starting to take a zoom out on the industry that the client is in or that you are in, look at the competitors, take a good look at them, start to figure out, okay, where are these people that my ideal client or my client's ideal client, gets very meta, would be looking at in comparison to me or them and thinking, who should I book? Now that's how you figure out who your competitors are. Who would they also be looking at in terms of wanting to book someone? Don't just put in people that you really look up to because they're not your competitors. They're people that are in the industry, that people are probably going to be very different. The ICA is going to be very different looking at those people than your ICA. So we need to be looking at our actual direct competitors here. That is for this one, industry research and competitors and positioning. And with the positioning, this part is, figuring out where you sit among those competitors. If they are charging a lot of money, but they're doing very low quality work, are you charging a medium amount of money and doing high quality work? If so, you're sitting in a very different place to them. That's all positioning stuff, okay? Your brand personality. So the brand personality again refers to a set of human characteristics associated with your brand, and it's how your brand expresses itself in its communication, visuals, which is very important, interactions with customers, etc. A well-defined brand personality actually makes your brand more relatable and memorable, and it influences how customers feel about your brand. Now, if you are a person that is the only one that works in the studio, you still need a brand personality. I show up in my brand with a very specific brand personality that's slightly different to my own personality. To give you an example, there are things that I don't share. There are parts of myself that I censor because I am speaking to a specific audience. And I think there is value in being authentic, but you can be authentic and have boundaries and have strategy around the way that you are presenting yourself online. Your brand vision, and this is sort of more, rather than the brand vision I was speaking of earlier, I should have put in another word here, but more the visual brand vision, is about the brand identity outcome, and it defines sort of the overarching goal of your visual branding efforts. So what do you want to achieve with the visual brand, such as standing out in the market and connecting emotionally with your audience or communicating your brand values? What things are we needing to present in the brand identity, and how are we envisioning the brand before we actually create it? This is important for your clients to verbalize and for you to verbalize as well. And then visual direction in general, which is more, the emotional and aesthetic tone your brand will convey. This is the color, the vibe, it's a mood board. All of these things are part of the visual direction. Crafting a mood board and having mood board alternatives for your clients to choose from, or even for yourself when you're doing your own branding, is super, super valuable. And the final step is step 4. And this is when we craft the galaxy. So when we've done all of that other stuff, that is only when we get to the galaxy crafting part. And when I say galaxy crafting part, I mean actually figuring out what this business is. And yes, I know it's very backwards, but a lot of the time, once we do all of that strategy work, and I've had this experience many times with my clients, which is why I've refined my processes, they will come to me, do all the strategy work, and then go, you know what? I want to change my business name. I'm actually going to call it this now. Or I'm actually going to offer this now. And then the whole thing, like if I've started working on that project already, okay, that's out the window. We need to start again. So this is why I do it backwards. It's getting the strategy done and then thinking, okay, now what's the brand? What is the name of the brand? What is the tagline? What is the visual brand going to be? These are the things that actually come later. We tend to do it backwards, but this is the way we should be doing it for it to make sense and to be solid and long lasting. So just as a recap, we figure out why first, then we work out who, then we discover how, and then we decide on what it's going to be and we execute. Now, I've actually crafted a Notion questionnaire for this specific workshop so that it makes a lot of sense for you. And I've gone through and I've done, each step. So we've got step 1, purpose. And yes, I've got business here because traditionally when you give this to a client, they will want to write their business name in there. So you can give that to them at the start. But as they work through it, they may go back and change the business name. So then we've got, questions that are similar to what I was saying in the slides, but slightly different and a bit more of an explanation of how to write this out. And then I've got the who. We go into demographics, psychographics. There's more questions in each of these. Ideal client avatar work. After that, we have step 3, discover. So we're going to do competitor research here. And then we've got crafting the galaxy. So we've got the vibe, mood. These are some questions that I ask my clients, so they'll be helpful for you as well. And then desired brand feeling and look. And I think if you guys can go ahead and complete that before the workshop, that would be so amazing. I think anyone that doesn't have a solid brand strategy already for their own brand, or that wants to learn brand strategy a little better, I would be doing that questionnaire before the workshop. And then in the workshop, we will be getting stuck into some real life brand strategy work that I've done. I'm going to give you tips on how to run a great brand strategy session with your clients. And if we have time, I will show you how to present your strategy and visual direction for a great branding outcome. So, fill in the questionnaire. Bring any questions that you have with you to the workshop so that I can answer them. If you want me to look over any of your brand strategy work or mood boards to go along with your brand strategy, I might have time to look at one or two during the workshop. But that is it. I really can't wait to dive into more of this stuff with you. Brand strategy, as I've said before, is such a huge thing. And I have really only scratched the surface today. I've really simplified it for you so that I could fit it into this workshop and give you a brief outline of what's involved. There are a lot of extra steps and a lot of extra things to be asking and doing with brand strategy. And you can go, as far as doing like a full day workshop with people like that, or even more if you wanted to. You can go so deep on things. And it's so great if you can also work with someone like a copywriter, because they can provide great insights with tone of voice and, brand characteristics and crafting a brand story as well with great words if you're not amazing at that. But I'm so happy to have you here with me today working through brand strategy. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this helps you and how this helps you to not only improve your own brand and attract the right clients, but also to improve your work with your clients, because there's always room for us to improve as designers. And this is one of the best things we can do to improve our work and to really get to the heart of how to craft an epic brand for people. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. I will see you very soon at the workshop. Big love. Bye.